7:42 a.m. And of course, welcome to Doctor's Mike. My name is Jude. Ikami Jude. I'm here because you're there. Of course, I am not in the studio alone at this time. You know now, right? Aha. I am with Dr. Charles Adeogun. I don't want to add any AKA yet. AKA capacity. Hello, Dr. Charles. Good to have you join us.
Hello, good morning. How are you today?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Doing great. Everyone, feel free to join the conversation at this time. Yes, it promises to be robust, as it's always robust, and you always follow up, right? I don't know. I'm so happy. This morning. I don't know why. I'm hyper. It's okay. Everyone, send me messages via WhatsApp, okay? Some of those messages I didn't touch on last time. I'll try my best to do that today. So feel free to, talk to me. We're streaming right now. I'll also encourage you to join us via YouTube. You can watch us from anywhere in the world right now. Anywhere in the world. All right? And you're also free to share the broadcast so others can benefit. Okay? So, let's take a walk. What are we looking at today, actually? I'll tell you shortly. All right, we're looking at this thing that is almost everywhere. If you're not concerned, someone around you is concerned. All right, it has nothing to do with just females or males alone. Everyone is talking about belly fat. Exactly. Do you have a very, very big? Not like you're pregnant as a woman. Yes, not like you're pregnant, but your tummy is just unnecessarily heavy, fat, big. It wasn't like that before, but it keeps protruding. Sometimes you say, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's this. But Dr. Charles Adeogun will help us dissect these things and help us understand why you have this belly fat. Is it dangerous? Probably it's not dangerous. What you should do to help yourself out. Maybe you should... whatever, everything. He's going to help us dissect it. So, Doc, talk to us about belly fat, everything there is to know about belly fat. Whether for males or females, just talk to us.
Thank you. Belly fat has a medical term called truncal obesity. So it means on your trunk, you're having so much fat, you're having so much adipose tissue deposited there. And for many people, there are different causative factors. For some, it could be because of lack of exercise. For some, it could be because of alcohol. For some, it could be from their sedentary lifestyle. Basically, we've found out that for men in particular who drink a lot of alcohol, truncal obesity is a common feature to them because the calories you get from the kind of alcohol you take, plus our diet are mainly carbohydrates-based diet. And when your body breaks down carbohydrates into sugars, if you have so much of it, your body now tends to store up the excess in your liver as glycogen. But when the liver stores are also exceeded and the capacity of the liver is breached, in terms of containing the glycogen, it's now converted to fats under your skin. So you can now see that your diet has a huge role to play. People that have a high sugar diet, a high carbohydrate diet, high calorie intake in form of alcohol, coupled with sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, all those can really, really increase your chances of having belly fat. And truncal obesity leads to something we call visceral fat. So this is fat infiltrating into your organs, and particularly the liver in particular. You have what is called fatty liver. I'm sure some people would have heard that term before. if they regularly go to the hospital or they go for their wellness checks. So when you notice that there's fatty infiltration into the liver, that's a sign that all may not be going well with that liver as time goes on if you don't take the necessary steps, if you do not start getting enough of exercising, doing your portion control, regulating what you eat, and your lifestyle modification in general. You may notice that the fatty liver may worsen, and it has grades. It can be mild fatty liver, and it can actually progress to something more serious and ultimately affect your liver function. So basically, it's important that regular wellness checks are always emphasize, like we always talk about, so that when you go for your scans or you go for your liver function test and they are noticing that there's something with your liver function, or they tell you they are seeing fatty infiltration in your liver, all those things are red flags that you need to do something fast and something quickly to reverse the fatty liver. And basically, for a lot of people who have the belly fats, it also comes with a lot of psychological and emotional issues. For people who are very particular about their looks and how their outfits, suits them, they may start feeling a bit of lack of self-confidence and self-esteem. Because when you look at yourself in the mirror, maybe when you wear your suits, you have a flat belly and you are trimmed and everything, but now you're not having a protuberant belly. All that, may signal, some kind of differences in how you perceive yourself and the way you feel other people perceive you too.
Okay.
So for some people, they may start feeling the need to want to work on it and to get rid of it. But you cannot work on it unless you get disciplined. And then discipline in terms of your diet and exercise, and then consistency. We usually say that when you change your diet or your exercise or your lifestyle, in any form, consistency is key. You can't just do it for a week or two and expect magic to happen. You have to stay consistent with those changes for you to derive, the benefits of those modifications you are doing, and then for you to have a lasting impact on your health. So consistency in your exercise, consistency in portion control. You may need to see a dietitian if necessary. You may need to start doing some tummy trimming exercises. All these are very, very helpful, because not a single one of these things can stand on their own. You need lifestyle changes, dietary changes, your exercises, cutting off alcohol, staying off anything that makes you pound up calories, cutting out the junks. All those are very, very essential if you want your belly fat to go down. And then, of course, we've also noticed that a lot of people who are sedentary, we talked about it last week, for some reason, you are always seated in one place, maybe by virtue of the kind of job you do, you're always at your desk and you don't have time to move around, or you have people that you send on errands while you stay in one place. All those things don't necessarily help you to be a better person overall in terms of your health, because your body was designed to move, and if you don't move, you accumulate calories, the inputs you are putting in is more than your output, then definitely you're going to have fat. And part of the worst, in fact the worst kind of fat you can have in your body is visceral fat, which is that truncal obesity. It can come with all sorts of complications, and that's why many people who are on the big side, even if they're going to go for a surgery, the surgeon and the medical team, they're always at alert, because they're always thinking about what can go wrong or the possible complications that may arise because of the person's fat or the person's obese status. So it's very important that everybody who is obese, and how do you know if you are obese? From the body mass index. Okay. So if you check your body mass index and your body mass index is 25 and above, then you're already overweight, because 25 to 29 is overweight, above 30 is morbidly obese. So you calculate your BMI as the ratio of your weight in kilograms to the square of your height in meters. So that's how you know what your BMI is. So sometimes you look at people and they look normal to you, but they may be overweight. So you can't really assess. Really? Yes, you can't really assess a person being overweight or obese, except for people who are, of course, obviously obese, that you can see that they are so massive. But for most people, they don't even know they are overweight until they check their BMI. Because for a certain height, you should have a certain range of weight that suits you, that is suitable for you. So it's very important that everybody gets to know what their body mass index is And if you're already in the overweight range, you don't wait till you get to the obese range before you start doing something, because that is how the body is. Something is wrong, do something about it. Something is amiss, start taking the right steps in the right direction to reverse it before it gets to a point where it becomes irreversible or very difficult to manage.
Let's just look at the main cause of belly fat. Some will say it's food, some will say it's alcohol, some will say something else. Some will tell you, I don't even eat. I don't consume too much food. I don't take alcohol, but now bank account it makes some people let it. So let me
But it's a factor of so many things. Like we said, alcohol can be a factor, sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise can be a factor. And then for some other people, you have the high carbohydrates intake, where you now have too much stores in your liver of glycogen and the rest are converted to fat. And then for some, you have people who, for some reason, they don't have very, very toned abdominal muscles, because we have muscles in our abdomen. So if they are not toned enough to maintain the firmness of the abdominal wall, then you can find them that those muscles become flabby, and they can become protuberance very easily. So you can see that people who don't exercise are likely not going to have toned muscles, because we know that when you exercise, your muscle bulk is maintained, the tones of the muscles are maintained. But when you don't exercise, you are sedentary, and you just keep eating, and you're not even disciplined with what you eat and consume, then it's just going to happen to you at some point. Not to forget that, of course, there are genetic factors to obesity as well. We've talked about this before. For some people, it runs in their family, that most of them, starting from their parents and their siblings and other, first degree relations, they are all on the big side. So that can also play a role. But the firmness and the tone of the abdominal muscle also goes a long way in regulating how firmly, the abdomen would appear. And for a lot of women who have had multiple children too, over time, you because of the stretching of pregnancy and all that, you can actually find out that sometimes the muscles may not be as toned as they used to be. Because some women after they start having children, they just leave themselves, and they don't exercise, they don't watch their diets. They feel that there's really nothing to protect, or
God,
nothing.
I'm married.
Yeah, so they really care less about how they look. But ultimately, it's not really about your physical appearance alone. It's also about your well-being, and then the potential complications that can arise from you having truncal obesity. And in some conditions, like Cushing's syndrome, you can actually have truncal obesity. So it could also be from some kind of problems that people have, medical problems. So Cushing's syndrome is a hormonal problem, that has to do with high cortisol, adrenal gland issues. So in such people, they have a moon phase, they have truncal obesity, they have what we call stretch marks and all those things. So all those things come to play, from the medical condition they have. And then some people too take steroids. Steroids are medications that are anti-inflammatory, but we actually regulate the use of steroids. I'm sure everybody has heard steroids. The kind of steroids that athletes use to enhance them, anabolic steroids that people use to grow their muscles, and steroids are also used in rheumatoid arthritis. They are used in some autoimmune diseases. And then these steroids ultimately can also give you that weight gain, including belly fat. So you can have that when you're on it for a prolonged period of time. Okay. So all these things are causative factors. They are potential factors. So when you are starting a treatment, it's good for you to understand that this treatment you are going to embark on, what are the things you should expect, and what are the likely things that can show up, that you may not be prepared for. And even if they do show up, what are the things that you should put in place to make sure that the effects are minimized, that the detrimental effects are minimized, and it's not looking like you are treating something and then you are causing another major problem.
What burns belly fat? Some people will tell you, go and fast. Stop eating in the night. And all of these, But basically, does fasting reduce belly fat?
Fasting alone would not reduce belly fat, but it could help you, because when you are in a, let me use the term starvation mode, like in a fasting state, your body now says that you're not giving it the glucose it needs, and then it now has to, we mentioned it before, compensatory mechanisms to balance up the glucose requirement. Since you're not supplying the glucose, it has to break down proteins, it has to convert fats to glucose and all that. So yes, to an extent it will help you, because some of the fats will be broken down to be converted into the glucose that your body needs. But that alone may not be effective, because you cannot fast indefinitely, right? So your fast has to be something temporary. So depending on the belly fat you're talking about now, you can now say you're putting yourself on a 1 month fast. So definitely it has to be something intermittent or something that you do from time to time. So for you to achieve the benefits of losing belly fat, you have to fast intermittently, you need to exercise, and even those foods you eat in the process of you fasting.
Exercise, yeah.
And then those foods that you're eating in the while you are not fasting,
Yeah.
must not be too much of calories, and they must not be something that are counterproductive to your objective. Your objective is to lose the belly fat. So you can now say you're now eating all the yams, all the pounded yams, all the fufu, you're downing 2 bottles of beer with it when you say you're breaking your fast. It's not good. It's not, yeah, it sounds all nice, and but that's not the way to do it. And then even apart from alcohol, even our fizzy drinks, very sugary fizzy drinks and all that, they can also encourage obesity. And they are also one of the things that put people, on the toe towards diabetes. So of course we've mentioned before that type 2 diabetes is linked to obesity, and it is the non-insulin dependent diabetes, which is insulin resistance diabetic. So that's on its own is related to obesity, meaning that the more obese you are, or the more truncal fats you have, the more belly fats you have, you're also at an increased risk of developing diabetes too. So you should try as much as possible to make sure that fizzy drinks, you minimize them, sugary things, you minimize them, junk foods, you minimize them, alcohol, you minimize it. Your exercise regimen must be consistent and must be at least 4 to 5 times a week if you really want to achieve the objective of losing your belly fat.
In addition, I feel people should also, like what I do, eat to stay alive, not eat to get filled up.
Yes, a lot of Nigerians, if they are not to the brim, they've not eaten.
In Nigerians, some Nigerians will eat and they will tell you, I need to store some, like saying fuel. You understand? Store some for
the rainy day.
You understand? I tell people, if you want to eat, just even if 5 spoons will help you stay alive and not die. That 5 spoons is okay for me. I go come chop. I go be like, say, man, I don't feel work. No.
It's not healthy. We've mentioned it before on the program that when it comes to nutrition, we can have malnutrition divided into 2 forms. You have the undernutrition and you have the overnutrition. So undernutrition is people that don't eat enough. They may have deficiency diseases. They are lacking essential nutrients and calories and all that, and they need to supplement their diet or have their diet reviewed by a dietitian so that they don't have deficiency diseases. Then you have the overnutrition. Those are the kind of people you are talking about, where they are taking more than they need. They have taken into their system more than their body even requires. And the digestive system can even be overworked, because some people are habitual eaters. They eat when they are happy, they eat when they are sad, they eat when they are idle, they eat when they are quiet, they eat when they are bored. So eating is just for them, it's just a round the clock thing. So when you have that kind of that kind of habit or that kind of lifestyle, then you may need to visit your doctor so that your doctor can possibly help you with some appetite suppressants. And if you can get some appetite suppressants, you may also make sure that rather than you eating heavy food, when you have those cravings, you can settle for healthy nuts, you can settle for the salads, things that will not necessarily spike your sugar or make you pound up the calories. Then you can drink lots of water too in between your meals, so that at least your stomach is a bit occupied, and then you have little space for food. It is very important that if you really want to stay healthy, you don't overnourish yourself and you don't pile up unnecessary calories that you are not burning at the rate at which you are consuming them.
Let's also help those listening right now. What food helps to reduce belly fat, or drink? Is there any drink that you can take to reduce, or food that you can start eating to reduce belly fat?
The only things that you can eat are things that are not too calorie rich. So you can take your salads, you can eat your salads, you can take your fruits, you can have your smoothies, you can take your green tea. All those would help you. Yes, you are occupied, but they are relevant to your nutrition. They give you your vitamins, your minerals. You get enough of your nutrients from them, but they are not really going to make you pound up the calories. Most of the calories that result to too much of fat in the body are from the big carbohydrates, the heavy foods. Nigerians are heavy eaters, to be honest. If a Nigerian doesn't sit down and eat and feels like he has swallowed concrete, it won't be like he has eaten anything. You serve them food. I've even heard some people say when you give them rice and beans that this one is not food, this one is appetizer, and you're wondering. So when you're going to eat the real food, what are you expecting to eat? So it's very essential that we really take our diet seriously and what we consume, because we are what we eat essentially, and what we eat to a large extent determines our well-being and our overall health. So our health status depends on the quality of our nutrition.
Okay, one more thing I also want to ask is belly fat is so hard to lose. Easy to get.
Of course, easy
Hard
to
to
get.
lose.
Very easy to get.
Why?
Because
Person go do exercise. You will exercise and
but even
everything.
even the exercise tire that you're saying, are they really consistent with it? Because I have noticed that even with some patients, when you ask them that, okay, because you are diabetic, because you are obese, you're also hypertensive, we always encourage you to exercise. When you just call them randomly and ask them, to be honest, when was the last time you had exercise? They will tell you, okay, doctor, let me just be honest with you. I've not actually exercised this month. Then one excuse of the other, I was on a trip. By the time I came back, I was exhausted. I intend to start next week. I intend to start in 2 weeks. They are not really, really consistent or committed to that plan for most people.
Okay.
For most people, it is usually a huge task to pull through and follow through whatever they are committed to do. If you tell them to stop this kind of foods, they'll tell you, I just asked to just indulge this one time, and then that one time leads to another time, then leads to another time, and before you know it, they are back to square one. So for a lot of people who are on that weight loss journey, the problem with them mainly is consistency, is discipline, is to stay motivated. But if they are accountable to someone like a health professional or a nutritionist, that may be helpful for them, because somebody is always checking on them, and they are going for periodic assessments. They are checking their weight from time to time. They are checking their abdominal girth, because you can measure your abdominal circumference from time to time to know how you're doing, to know whether you're actually losing or gaining weight. If you go for those regular assessments, it helps you to keep you on your toes, and you're accountable to someone. But when you just do it at your own convenience, most likely you're really not going to do a good job, because you just find yourself fluctuating in and out, and you may not get what you really want.
Now we're talking about belly loss. Does hot water help in reducing belly fat?
That has not been proven. That is not.
Say, go and take
hot water. Maybe with the thinking that it will melt the fat or what. That's not scientifically proven to make anybody lose weight.
But there's
for you to lose weight, the scientific and evidence-based practice that we know can work for you are your diet and your exercise. And you have to be consistent. And you can't just be eating anything. You have to see a nutritionist to put up a meal plan for you. So if you want to go on a weight loss journey, everything about you will change. Your diet will change. Your lifestyle will change. Your patterns will change. Your sleeping pattern will change. What you will eat will change. How long you sit down for will change. Your level of activities will change. Many things about you would be altered.
I've also heard people say when you take lemon, it will help you. Some are used to, like we mentioned last week, Lipton. Without milk, they reduce belly fat. I don't know. People are so used to it. Just take only Lipton.
But does it work for them? They can't.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't. It can't really do much for you in terms of that. It can't do much for you. If you drink all the Lipton in the world, eat or drink all the lemon in the world, squeeze all the lemon juices in the world, and consume them, and you are still not working on your diet, you are still eating your mountain of eba and pounded yam and semo and you're still downing your alcohol, your soft drinks, you're not exercising, you're in bed all day, or you're seated in one place all day, and for you to move around is a problem for you, it is not going to happen, because you will just find out that you are still the way you are, if not worse. So the truth of the matter is, I advise people to always go for what works.
Okay,
So let us not just adopt things that we think are logical or rational, or all these old wives' tale that people tell us that, okay, if you do this works or that works. Go for what is evidence based, which is garbage in, garbage out. You eat nonsense, you see nonsense in your body. That's how it is. So it's very important that you are very, very decisive and you make healthy dietary choices. That's the only way. And your lifestyle and exercise, remains active
This
and consistent.
weight gain thing, is it even as a result of water or fat? Is it fat basically? Some will say because you today drink water, is too much of water or whatever,
It's not. It has nothing to do with water, because if you take water, your body is 60 to 70% of water, and water is essential for everything, for your digestion, for your excretion, prevents constipation, helps you look younger for a long time. Even your brain needs a good amount of water to continue normal functioning, because if you don't drink enough water, you start having a headache too. Even water helps your energy levels. You feel more vibrant when you're drinking more water. So if you drink a lot of water and your kidneys are working well, the only thing you would see is that you probably pee more frequently, and you will notice that your kidney would even do a better job with your more water, your level of hydration. Okay. So it has nothing to do with water, but it is more of fat accumulation. It is fat accumulation. It is subcutaneous fat. It is fat under your skin. And a lot of people even have more fatty tissue than muscle. That is why we're saying if you exercise will help you build your muscle more while you lose the fat. So that's very essential. So the essence of going for those exercises is not just for you to look trim. It's also for you to build your muscle. Because, we mentioned last week with Dr. Otegbeye that, your muscle is very, very essential. Your body contains a lot of muscles, and that's why we were designed to keep moving, because muscles are all about movement. So if you're not moving, you're losing muscle, because there's what we call atrophy of disuse. If you don't use it, you lose it. So you don't use those muscles, they atrophy, they shrink, and you start losing function, especially when you are now in the elderly age bracket. You would have loss of muscle mass, and you have to keep up with your exercises to maintain activity of those muscles. So for the seniors who want to remain active, who still want to remain independent, doing their things themselves, still able to move around and enjoy life, have a good quality of life, exercise is mandatory. It's very, very important.
Okay. Now, again, for some persons, food is, like you rightly mentioned, is the issue here. I would also want to ask you, but before I ask, I noticed that some persons, sometimes we're really not hungry, but we want to eat. Nigerians feel, no,
Absolutely.
In the morning, there's breakfast, you must take it.
Whether you're hungry or not.
Whether you're hungry or not.
And when it's around 11 or 12 too, anything, you smell akara somewhere, you ask them, let them bring it.
And stop.
And it's not like you're hungry.
You want to do lunch because you had, when you were growing up, you had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then some move on at supper. Supper is that what you take by 10.
No, but it's even okay to even eat 3 times. But you see that in between that they eat and they're not hungry. And it's just something from...
You're just craving.
It's just a craving, or because you just see somebody eating and then you're just like, no, let me just be a part of it. So it almost becomes, you're not eating because you're hungry. You're eating because it's almost like it's compulsive. It's something that you can't control. It's out of your control. It's almost like an addiction. Some people can be addicted to food. Some people, they never know what it is to be full, to say, okay, this is the mark, this is my boundary, this is my limit of consuming food, that I've had enough for this period. They keep eating and eating and eating. And to my surprise, a lot of people, not only do they eat habitually like that, they also get to a point where they don't even discriminate, what from what. They just eat anything, and then they turn themselves into like a garbage dump. Anything goes. So you can see somebody eating moi moi now. The next minute is eating chips. The next minute is eating bread. The next minute is eating eba. and you're wondering what's going on here.
Hello.
Yeah, and these things happen, and you think you're enjoying life. You think you are satisfying your cravings. You think that you are getting all the nutrition that you need, but you are really doing your body a lot of harm, because your body was not just designed to keep eating around the clock. And I'm sure everybody has heard the benefits of intermittent fasting, that it's not only for spiritual purposes that people fast, it's even healthy for you to fast. Give your digestive system a break. Give it a break. Give it time to unwind. Give it time to
relax.
Exactly. It doesn't need to keep grinding and grinding round the clock. It's very important. And for people that eat late at night too, it becomes a problem for them. They eat so heavily at night. People eating pounded yam before going to bed, heavy pounded yam. And
Doctor, are you from Ekiti?
no, I'm not from Ekiti. I'm not from Ekiti.
I won't talk something, but you see,
because you see,
I understand that, but let me not generalize it so they won't come for me. That the Ekiti people
yes,
love pounded yam.
of
very
course they
well.
do.
They can eat pounded yam any time of the day. Yeah. In fact, my neighbor some years back, his name is Nii. When he come back from work by 8, 9 wife be pound. It's so I don't
And
know
they will
how,
sit down and
yes.
down it.
Yes.
But the thing is that the dinner is actually supposed to be your lightest meal of the day. It should be the lightest meal of the day, because you'll be going to bed and you're not going to be burning anything. You're not going to be burning any calories. So it's in your best interest not to load up calories at that time. Then also, once you eat sparingly at night, make sure that the dinner isn't late. At least 3 hours before your bedtime, you've had your last meal. Because if you have your meal close to your bedtime, you go to lie down, you're at risk of acid reflux, you're at risk of, heartburn symptoms, dyspepsia, and all that. And all these things are major challenges for a lot of people. They keep saying they have a burning sensation in their chest, they feel like throwing up, they are feeling some discomfort in their upper chest. All this is from late eating. So we need to do better in terms of, how late our dinners are. I understand that people get home late and all that.
Especially
But
in Lagos.
in Lagos, yes. But I think you should find other alternatives. It's either you eat your dinner while in traffic. If somebody is driving you, that is. Or if you stop by somewhere and just fix your dinner before getting home. But for you to be eating after 9 p.m. is not advisable.
Can you do fruits after 9 p.m.?
You can do fruits. You can actually do fruits, but make sure that there's still a healthy time interval between that time and your bedtime. Ideally, before you lie down, you should sit up for a while. You should sit up for like 40 minutes. Let your food go down a bit before you go to lie down. Because a lot of people are beginning to have digestive symptoms. The acid reflux, the heartburns, the discomfort in the chest, and they keep going to see a digestive specialist every now and then. And the answer is, your dinner is too late.
You go chop finish. You will go lie down. No, make I go rest.
And then some of them, after eating, in fact, some of them actually eat in bed. Yes.
Really?
Yes, some people eat in bed because they are addicted to their phones. They still want to be chatting while they are lying down. They still want to be completing one assignment or the other. It's not proper for us to eat and lie down while eating. You need to be in an upright position. There's a reason why your digestive system is configured the way it is. Yes.
I want to ask you, is going to bed hungry good for weight loss?
Well,
I've heard people say that, don't worry, just don't eat. Make sure
just
you
don't eat at night.
No. What do you think?
For me, what matters is, okay, you go to bed hungry, fine. But when you wake up, what do you eat?
Go to bed empty hunger.
Yeah, so empty on empty tank, it's fine. You can do that. But when you wake up, what do you eat? So when you you don't eat. So but when you do eat, what do you eat is the question. Because I've seen people who say they are fasting. All right. And when you ask them that when you break your fast, what do you break your fast with? And by the time they narrate all the list of foods that they are using to break their fast, you wonder, did you really fast at the end of the day? I really don't think you fasted, though, because everything you are eating now is like you are paying for all the things that you didn't eat before. So that's how people break their fast sometimes. The kind of things they model up, to break their fast is so much. And you're wondering, are you really going to still get the benefit of what you're trying to achieve? Because at the end of the day, you're eating excessive
Yeah.
Excessive nutrition, excessive carbohydrates, excessive fats and oils, butters, margarine, and then you clump up snacks with it and all the junk foods. You now find out at the end of the day you have eaten excessively, and that's not what you really want to achieve. And at the end of the day, you find out that the weight loss journey, is hindered, and you're not going to achieve your objective of getting the desired weight you want.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't happen unless you take all the right steps. And you need to be accountable to someone. There's an emphasis on that, because if you are your own judge, you're probably going to not, be as disciplined as you should. But if you know somebody else is assessing you and assessing your progress or monitoring your progress, it would keep you on your toes, and you're likely going to be compliant with all the advice, that has been given to you.
I was, when you said monitoring your progress, I was looking at it the other way.
How are you looking at it? From what angle?
From a spiritual angle.
Oh, when we hear monitoring, now we go to monitoring spirits.
Monitoring my progress. Holy Ghost fire. Okay, let's start taking questions at this time quickly. Yeah. Like I said, we have given our listeners the opportunity to ask questions. All right, questions, and then we got so many questions again this morning. A whole lot of questions coming this morning. But then, in case we're not able to answer your questions or your question, the doctor will tell you what to do. All right, and how we even go further to assist you. All right. So, doctor, let us know before we start reading out these questions.
Okay, so we'll be taking some questions now. Hopefully, we'll take as much as we can on this edition. But if you have other inquiries or comments or further questions or clarifications, you can log on to Doctor's Mic, so Dr.S.MIC on Facebook, on Instagram, and then we'll be happy to read your comments, read your questions, and respond to you very swiftly. We have a lot of doctors there, ranging from general practitioners to gynecologists to surgeons. It's a multi-specialist setting. I'll be glad to hear from you. I'll be glad to help you with your inquiries. So we can go on with these questions and answer as much as we can today. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go there, everyone. It's time to answer your questions. Okay, quickly, let's get to it. My son is 12 years old. They started feeling, son or not daughter, they started feeling pain on his breast area, as if he's developing breast. They said I have done scan on it and nothing was found. This is Mama Ijima from Mafoluku sending this message.
Okay.
What might be wrong?
So that is a normal finding of puberty. So that can happen in some young boys. So she should relax. She shouldn't panic. She shouldn't fret. It's not anything worrisome. And like she said, she has gone for scans and nothing was found. So in puberty, you find out that some...
The breast, the pain.
Yes, it could be painful. It could be tender to touch. And it looks like it's a little lumpy and all that. So it's a normal finding of puberty. So your son is experiencing pubertal changes, and that is considered normal. You shouldn't worry about it. For some people who are very athletic, it has been shown that their heart rates may be a bit lower than for the general population. So basically, if your pulse rate is still above 50, we're still not worried, if it's still in the 50 to 60 range. But if it drops below 50, then we would like to ask you.
My ECG and echocardiography is okay.
Is okay, good. So, but we'll still need to ask you some questions because he's 69 years old. So at that age, we're expecting, he didn't tell us about his blood pressure. He didn't tell us about his drug history. He could be on some medications that, may ultimately be affecting his pulse rate too. Because there are some medications that people are placed on for different reasons that can slow down your heart rate. So apart from the fact that he may be athletic, he may also have it as a drug side effect. We are not sure of the underlying illnesses he has, but I would advise that he goes for a thyroid function test to rule out hypothyroidism, and then he goes to see a cardiologist, with a proper drug list, all the drugs he's currently on, so that we can find out if there is any of them contributing to that effect.
Okay. Um, yeah, also want to encourage anyone who is into health. You can partner with us. You can advertise with us. You can sponsor the show. Okay, all for your own benefit and nothing more. Next question. Please kindly mention some of the foods that are high in calories.
The foods that are high in calories, your junk foods, your burgers, your pizzas, your butter, margarine, all those saturated fats, alcohol, of course, sugary drinks, your beverages, most of them are quite high in calories, because at the end of the day, you find out that eating pastries, what we call snacks, and the junks would only amount to high calorie consumption. And if you are not matching that consumption with how you expend your energy or your level of exercises, then you find out that you have too much calories mounted up, and ultimately that leads to obesity or even truncal obesity. So it's safe for you need calories, you need a safe amount of calories, but you must also match what you consume with your activity level must be complementary.
Caesar from Alagbado is sending this message. He said, please, Doc, I really eat, but anytime I get hungry, I hardly eat well. I get filled up in the sight, at the sight of food, though I take alcohol well. What is it?
Well, I would say for you need to possibly be on some kind of supplements that would help you improve on your appetite. Because when you say alcohol well, and if a Nigerian tells you they drink alcohol well, just know that they actually drink it well. Because that means that
when they say well, it's well. We should add too well to well.
You should know it's very, very well. So it's very necessary for you to make sure that you're on an appetite stimulant, and there are a lot of them available. We can't mention the brands here. So they're available. They can help you from your simple vitamins to some other specific ones that would target your appetite, make you feel hungry, and you're able to eat better than you normally used to. Because your alcohol consumption, if it's very high, it may make you be deficient in certain vitamins, especially the vitamins that are very essential for your nerve function. So you don't want to start having tingling or numbness in your hands and feet and all those things, and then of course ultimately affecting your liver. So it's very necessary that you go for a regular health check. Find out, I don't know how long you've been drinking alcohol for, so I'll advise you to also go for a liver function test. Because for people who already have a liver issue, sometimes anorexia or loss of appetite may be part of the presenting symptoms. So you want to be sure that that is not happening to you yet. So you make sure that you be on an appetite stimulant, and you make sure that you space out the timing of your food. You may be somebody who can't eat so much at once. So you can actually have smaller portions of food, periodically during the day. And that actually adds up and helps you at the end of the day.
Since when he had glaucoma and cataract, he started hearing noise in his right ear, and according to him, they call it what they call
tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
Yeah.
Now, how does it go about it?
Well, if you're having tinnitus, you need to have your ears examined by an ENT specialist. And tinnitus can be caused by various things. When you have an ear infection, it could even be an effect of some of the drugs that you're possibly on, maybe for your high blood pressure or whatever condition you're managing. And then ultimately, there are some medications that can actually help you with tinnitus, but it has to be a specialist assessment. So the ENT doctor will do a thorough ear examination on you, and then find out what is the real cause of the tinnitus. And then may also ask you, do you feel a spinning sensation that we call vertigo, where you feel the whole room is revolving? Those things are, they're also related to the ears. So you need to find out exactly from the ENT doctor what your cause of tinnitus is and the appropriate treatment or management.
Does someone who is doing a heavy work still need much exercise?
Well, when you say you do heavy work, depends on what you do, but we all need to exercise. We all need our bodies to keep moving. You can be doing heavy work and you are just within a limited area of space, but your body needs motion, needs movement, and not a particular kind of movement alone. It needs a general kind of movement. So you can, last week somebody asked us that you pedaling on the sewing machine, That is that enough exercise? You remember that question? Yeah, so you can't just be exercising one part of your body and assume that you're getting enough exercise. So it has to be an entire body exercise, and you have to keep your whole body active.
What about the someone who has got arthritis, especially on the two knees, precisely?
Arthritis is a major concern. I think it's something we should talk about at some point as a major topic, because arthritis is something that occurs as a result of wear and tear of the joint, and then you have obliteration of the space between the joints. So there is a lot of friction, and the lubrication in the joints that allows proper gliding, smooth motion, dries up. So when that happens, you have a lot of pain, a lot of swelling, inflammation, and it can also be connected to people who are also overweight. So people who are overweight are at a risk of having arthritis that progresses very quickly. It's something that comes with age, but if you are overweight, try to lose weight. You can't be wrong to do that. Secondly, you may need to be on anti-inflammatories. Then thirdly, depending on your age, you didn't tell us what your age is, but if you are in the elderly age bracket, maybe you are above 60 or 65, you may need to be on some important supplements that helps you to maintain lubrication of the joint and helps you to support your joint health.
Okay. My question is, after little exercise, I do feel muscle pain for days. Sometimes like I was beaten. Please, can this also be caused by food or sugar that I eat?
No, that can be very normal depending on the type of exercise you engage in. We usually tell people sometimes that there's a thin line between exercise and stress. We ask you to exercise moderately. We didn't ask you to stress yourself out, because your muscles can get sore with intense exercise. And in fact, there's a kind of exercise that you can actually have breakdown of your muscles. So people can exercise so much that they have a condition we call rhabdomyolysis. Rhabdomyolysis is where the skeletal muscles actually breaks down and now, releases myoglobin, the proteins in the muscle, into the blood, which can damage the kidneys and is a potentially problematic condition that can kill, if care is not taken, because you just find out that the person has intense muscle pain, the muscles break down, myoglobin is released, their urine becomes like reddish brown, that becomes the color of the urine just because the muscles are broken down. So you don't want strenuous exercises. You don't want exercises that would break down your muscles. You want exercises that will make your muscle bulk maintained, your muscles toned, and your cardiovascular health, stable. So you don't need to over-exert yourself in the name of exercise. So if your muscles are feeling sore, I think you may need to reconsider the type of exercises you do, or maybe slow down on the duration of the exercises or the intensity of the exercises.
Omega H3, does it have after effects? Taking it every day.
Omega H3, that's from fish oil. Very, very healthy. Healthy for your brain, healthy for your heart. It has a blood thinning effect also. It's quite healthy. But the only thing that you can have with it is possibly it can thin your blood, and if you're also on other blood thinners, like aspirin or clopidogrel or any other thing that thins your blood, if you're going for a surgery, you may need to stay off those supplements so that you don't bleed too much during your surgery. Okay. Or if you have any other blood clotting problems, you don't want your blood to be too thin so that you can't start bleeding spontaneously, so that's it essentially. But aside that, very, very healthy supplement.
Okay. What kind of exercise should people who are hypertensive do, and how do early morning warm water intake help?
People that are hypertensive, we usually tell them, we have essential hypertension is about 90% of the hypertension cases where, there's no particular cause for it. Usually it's just genetics and lifestyle, So for a lot of people who they are genetically predisposed to hypertension because it runs in their families, they need to take regular walks. Take your walk. Do brisk walking if you can, and then as much as you can, you make sure that you use the stairs instead of using the elevator. If you can take a walk instead of driving, you should do that. Anything that keeps your blood flowing, anything that keeps your cardiac activity healthy, you need your heart to keep pumping actively. That helps you. And then, hypertension is also associated with being overweight in some cases. Some people are obese. So being overweight is a risk factor for high blood pressure. So, of course, when you exercise, your weight is is properly maintained within the safe range, and your blood pressure is better controlled. So we encourage you to take just your regular walks, use the stairway instead of the elevators.
Okay.
Be domesticated, at home. Do some things. You don't have to just send people to do things for you. If you like gardening, do your gardening. If you like taking care of your house, cleaning up the place, you can do that as much as you can within safety limits. You're not going to overexert yourself in the process. Once you do that, you find out that your blood pressure is better controlled.
Okay. Let me read this message. It's quite interesting, though. Very interesting. This next message. Let me read it verbatim. Good morning, my dear presenter and guest in the studio. My name is Humble from Lakwe in Ibejuleki. Yeah. Please, I want to ask. I'm a slim person. My question is, does food causes someone to get fat? It gives me worry when people kept telling me upon all the food you are consuming and eating, it does not show on me or you. Is there any drug, supplements, or things I need to do to gain weight or make me look bigger in size? Please, I need your direction, doc.
We're in the same WhatsApp group now.
Okay.
So
understand.
basically, you shouldn't worry. That may just be your own genetic makeup. Because if your family members, your parents are not on the big side, where do you want to get it from? Our genetics play a huge role in how our health manifests or how our body forms show up too. So if you're not on the big side, it doesn't mean you're not healthy. That's what matters. Your health is the most important thing here. If you're a healthy person, you go for your wellness checks, you have a clean bill of health. What you look like, whether you're slim or not, does not count. Because people that are even obese or overweight or have a lot of body fat have more to deal with in terms of medical challenges than people who are slim. So now, it's very rare for you to find slim people saying they want to add weight. You find more overweight people trying to slim down because they know the kind of health challenges they're experiencing by being overweight. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. But if you are eating a lot, you have a huge appetite. Now, we should now define what it is, that you are actually eating massively, like you are consuming. You are really a consumer and you are losing weight.
You are really a consumer.
Then we should also run some investigations on you, because for people who have thyroid issues where they have their thyroid gland overactive, the metabolism rate is so fast that your body calls for food all the time and keeps burning the food. So you can have increased appetite and yet you lose weight when you have hyperthyroidism. So that is something for you to look out for. But aside that, if you are bothered about your weight, I don't think you should. But if it gives you a lot of concern, then maybe you should actually see a nutritionist to draw up a meal plan for you. And if you really want to bulk up, it's not only about food. You may need some exercises too to bulk up so that your muscles can be, bulkier.
What do you want to can do now?
I really,
carry weight.
yeah, exactly. So please,
Live
you
yourself
should
like
be
that,
happy the way you are and have good confidence in yourself and be happy how you are.
Okay. I want to extend that question. I recall my cousin was asking, my little cousin was saying, Uncle Jude, what do I eat? I want to be very tall. Everybody in my class, I'm like the smallest person in my class. He's 12 years old. So he was asking me, say, I want to at least. So I now promised him, so while I was leaving, I asked him, I said, what do you want me to buy for you? He said, I should buy him shoe. I want school shoe. But that the one that has heel, the one. Oh God. So I want to use this opportunity to ask, dog, it might seem funny, but then, is there something you feel a child that is still growing can eat to get taller, that can stretch?
Well, like we said, genetics still play a role. But he's lucky he's in that age bracket, he's in the adolescent age group, whereby the growth spurt is quite high and they progressively grow very fast within that range. So he's just starting his adolescent years. Adolescence is between 10 and 19 years, so he still has some time to actually make remarkable growth. Some of them may start growing slowly, but by the time they shoot up, You know, you'll all be amazed, and everybody will say, this was one of the shortest people in our class before, but look at him just after a couple of years. So maybe he's just a bit impatient. But I think for children, because of their self-esteem, you know, we have to make sure that people around him don't make fun of him, and they don't make him feel inadequate because of his height. It's important that he sees himself as still okay and fully confident in himself.
In my time, they used to call them class prefects. Now
Yeah.
they call them class governors. He is their class governor.
Imagine.
He's smart, man.
He's smart.
But
so
he feels he's too small.
yeah, he feels he's too
He
small,
stays
but
in
he
front
does,
of the class.
but he doesn't want. He also doesn't want people to make fun of him or sideline him. You know, when they are choosing people for certain sports or something.
Yeah.
They now tell him that he's not a perfect fit, but let him know he needs some reassurance. You know, that he's fine and that he will ultimately add weight, but he should have a lot of proteins and
Proteins,
yeah.
right?
Plenty of proteins, good for growth, good for repair of body tissues and all that. But ultimately, it's still a subject of genetics. So if his parents are not too tall, if they're just average height, he may not be so lucky to become a giant like he wants to be. but what he needs to do basically is just to be happy with himself and make sure that you know, he stays hopeful. He stays hopeful that before he comes out of that adolescent age bracket, something positive happens to him.
There's this myth that if you want your child to grow very well, I don't know, I heard this from some women discussing that you go carry water where you take bath the pikin. You will throw them for wall, high wall, like, you know, like maybe story building, right? You go, for the wall, you go make sure say you fling them from up, you know, and then the boy will grow tall. I don't know. You know, in fact, there's a topic. There's something we'll treat later. This myth that people always believe.
We need to start debunking some myths.
Seriously.
Actually, we need to start debunking some myths. But that does not hold any scientific basis at all. So, but the truth is, it is likely not true. It is very, very unlikely that would help a child grow.
Okay, let's move on with questions now. Anytime I eat beans, I normally have heartburn. What may have been the problem, and what causes heartburn? Second question is, what is the cause of having muscle pull during sex? Yemi from Ijesha. Okay, first of all, the heartburn thing first.
Okay, the heartburn thing. First and foremost, heartburn is just what we call acid reflux. You know, your stomach is an acidic medium normally with hydrochloric acid produced by the chief cells in your stomach. So basically, when you lie down after a meal or you're producing excess acid that we call hyperacidity, it can actually reflux into your esophagus and cause some kind of burning sensation there. And you actually have it as a hotness in your chest. So most people present with that hotness in the chest, a gripping hotness in the chest that makes them very uncomfortable, especially when they eat certain kinds of foods like beans. A lot of people have actually complained of that, and because, you know, beans is like a legume and contains a lot of gas, releases a lot of gas and all that. So you find out that a lot of them have that heartburn. So when you have heartburn, first and foremost, you need to make sure that you don't eat late, like we said. You need to make sure that you are eating moderately in small quantities, and you are taking antacids. Antacids are very healthy, you know, when it comes to having heartburns. It helps you to neutralize the excess acid produced, and it relieves your symptoms. So for him, he can minimize the frequency of consumption of such meals, and then he can use an antacid. But if symptoms persist, then he may need to go and see a gastroenterologist, that is the digestive specialist, who would order for some other investigations to actually find out why he is particularly predisposed to having that.
Okay. Then he said, what is the cause? What's the cause of having muscle pull during sex?
Muscle pull is usually like you having spasms of your muscle, and then the muscles are contracting and relaxing at a rapid rate, and that is quite painful because it's a painful experience, because you have muscles normally contracting and relaxing, you know, periodically in a rhythmic manner. But if you're having it happen very, very quickly, you can have muscle pull, and those muscle cramps can really be very distressing. So essentially, if you're having any exercise or sexual encounter and you're experiencing that, then that means that you may need to, be on a muscle relaxant or review the kind of exercises that you do. Okay. Those are all the potential things that you can do to get some good effect. So an analgesic or a muscle relaxant, or you spacing out time between your sexual encounters or the kind of exercises you do would help you. It's just like an exercise. So the sexual intercourse too is like an exercise that you do, just like people have cramps when they go to the gym.
Okay. All right, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. All right, let's see if we can take some more questions now quickly. This person is saying, please, I have been having consistent mouth sore, that is wounds, all right, that comes and goes every 2 weeks. What is the cause? What can I do?
Well, mouth sores can be caused from different things. It could be from nutritional deficiencies. It could be from immune suppression. You need to find out from your doctor, because there are different types of mouth sores. So we need to find out, is it something relating to you having some deficiencies in some essential nutrients, because that can be the cause. So I would advise, first and foremost, you rinse your mouth, be on fruits and vegetables, be on a good supplement, but you still need to go to your doctor for further evaluation or an assessment of your immune status. That's very important. And if you haven't gone for a dental assessment too, you may need to do so.
All right. I really don't want to okay, hold on, let me read this question. Good morning, doc. I get home very late at night after work, like 10 or 11 p.m. sometimes. If I eat something like biscuits before going to bed, is it proper than eating the heavy food like eba, semo, or fufu?
When we say you should eat light at night, it may not necessarily be biscuits. You can eat other light foods, before bedtime. You can eat your echo, the white echo in the leaves. That's light enough. You can have it with some vegetables and fish. That's fine. You can have salads, anything that appeals to you that is light. But biscuits, unless that is your preference, unless that's what you prefer to eat. But we always advise that you eat as light as possible at night, because you are not going to be burning calories in your sleep. So we don't want you to pound up calories that you end up not burning, and you wake up in the morning and you have a heavy meal again. Because normally we say the breakfast is the main meal of the day. So we expect that whatever you eat should be a bit bulky for your breakfast. So you can't go to bed on a heavy meal and then wake up to another heavy meal. So it's very important that you eat as light as possible. But if biscuits it's your preference, then it's fine. But you can't be eating biscuit every night. You must be eating it with something. So whatever it is you're taking it with must be something that, of course, is adding some kind of nutritional value to you. And to ask you, what kind of nourishment does biscuits really give you? Biscuits isn't a meal in itself. It's just something like a snack that you eat in between your meals. It shouldn't be a vital portion of your nutrition. So I think you should reconsider the kind of foods that you can be having for your dinner and find a good substitute for that.
Okay. Let's look at some other questions. This person is 72 years old, and his name is Felix from Okota. Please, I want to ask, as HBP and diabetes patients, what exactly is the type of food I'm supposed to be taking in the morning and night? Because I don't normally eat in the afternoon. I don't take any drink except water and zobo.
So if you're a hypertensive patient and you're diabetic at the same time, then you need to really monitor your diet closely. First and foremost, ensure that you're compliant with your medications. Remember that hypertension and diabetes are long-term treatments. They are not just a one-time treatment and then you stay off your medication. So first and foremost is treatment compliance. Secondly, your diet when you're hypertensive. We've mentioned before, low salt diet. You cut out your alcohol, you stop smoking, you exercise, you lose weight, you minimize Maggi in your food, you cut out caffeinated beverages and things that will not allow you sleep well. or alter your sleep. You stay away. And then stress management, very essential. Then for the diabetic aspect, you cannot run away from your carbohydrates. Your body needs healthy carbohydrates, but that is where glycemic indices comes in. Some foods spike your sugar more than some. So the ones that don't spike your sugar as such are the ones that you should incorporate in your diet. So I advise that you meet a dietitian to draw up a meal plan for you. A meal plan that would actually not spike your sugar, and you're still getting enough glucose for your normal body metabolism. So it's essential that you eat at the right time. It is not for you to fast as a diabetic patient, because it can be counterproductive sometimes. You can have a rebound hyperglycemia after a fasting period, because your body will make sugar from other sources. So it's important that you eat at the right time, but you eat the right kinds of food. That is why a diabetic meal is important for you.
This is Doctor's Mike, everyone. All right? The best way to talk to the doctor is to just go to Doctor's Mike. You can follow him there. Doctor's Mike on Facebook. Doctor, you know how to spell Doctor, Abi? Just put apostrophe S. Doctor's Mike. Mike is M-I-C on Facebook and Instagram. The same name. Doctor's Mike. Yeah? Make sure you follow him. And then there you can drop as many questions as possible. VOP has designed it so you can get a whole lot of questions there. Any question at all. Like he said earlier, there are doctors waiting there. A whole lot. They pick your case and they trash it. But there are some other things they also do. Doctor will tell you about that.
So we just want to also let you know that we're very big on preventive health care. We're big on telling people about their health, medical advisory services, consultations, and health seminars, organizing health conferences, organizing health workshops, community outreaches. So you can reach out to us for this. So if you have organizations or schools who are interested in seminars and workshops, we'll be delighted to come to you to help you out on that. Then also churches, who also want to educate their congregation, on wellness in general, on how to take care of their health.
These are things we really don't talk about.
Yeah, these are things that we really don't talk about. And these are very, very essential, and they affect us, in every sphere of life. So it's important that we have all these regular wellness talks, health seminars and conferences where men and women are present, and they are face to face with medical professionals who are able to dissect important health issues with them. They can ask their questions, there can be clarifications. It's going to be an interactive session, and a lot of people will be able to be clear on a lot of things that normally they were not really clear about. So it's essential that you reach out to us for all this. Even for schools, like we said, communities, estates who want to take their health status to the next level and who don't want unnecessary health complications coming up or meeting them unawares. So we're available for all this. You can reach out to us on the social media platforms that were earlier mentioned, and then we'll be glad to help you out.
Yeah. Okay. Let me add to it. Is it that you reach out to Doctor's Mike, or you can reach out to me on my social media platforms, okay? On Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Just go type Ikamijude, IKAMIJUDEH, all right? And then you're just right there. You can just drop your message. Thank you so much. Doc, okay, someone is saying this Doctor's Mic is VOP best addition to Jude's morning show. And I pray it's sustained because of its health benefits to Lagosians and Nigerians at large. Kudos to our cerebral in-house doctor educator.
Wow, thank you so much. Who is that, please?
You don't put name there.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your input and your comment. Thank you.
Please, Doc, my hobby takes much groundnut. Is it good? What is the work of groundnut in the body?
Groundnuts they're healthy. You have the healthy
no,
kind.
She fear say this one don't too much.
But I'm sure
I know someone that I have a friend, right? If you want chop rice, he go put groundnut.
Really?
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
How does it go together?
Like he feels it's
like he pours it on the rice.
If he wants to
he would mix it with the rice.
He will mix it with the
Are
rice.
you for real?
Yes.
Wow.
Then if he wants to take anything, then, okay, even if na Coke, he like to chop the groundnut and
throw some in the mouth and down with Coke. Wow.
Everything. If he says groundnut is, please, maybe this lady is asking.
So groundnuts are healthy. They are healthy. They contain the right kinds of fats, the healthy fats, and they're not generally are rich in zinc and some other micronutrients that your body requires. But you can't be taking it excessively, because too much of everything has adverse effects. I know some people who, like myself, I cannot take too much of groundnuts because I'll start having some allergic reactions to it. Sometimes it could be in form of acne, sometimes it could be in form of some skin outbreaks and all that. Some people are allergic to nuts, but if he's fine with it, apparently so, because he's been taking it for a long time and doesn't seem to have a problem, it's okay, but still in moderation all the same. Still in moderation.
Okay, we need to run now. Our time, we have just 1 minute. Seriously, or let's say 2. I'm 57 years, female. I always have pain in my feet, as if I'm standing on my bones.
Yes. So you need to, do some major investigations. Check your blood sugar, because sometimes when people have some pains they can't explain, it could be some form of neuropathy, especially if you're having some tingling or numbing sensation in your extremities, in your hands and feet. And then because you are probably menopausal, you may also need to go for some other investigation relating to your bones, because menopausal women have what we call osteoporosis, over time. So if you attain menopause at age 45, for instance, and you're 59, that's like 14 years into menopause, you may actually have some major changes in your bone status. The bone density may not be what it used to be. So when you go to evaluate your bone status, you run some important checks, do your vitamin D checks, do your calcium level checks. You may need to see an orthopedic doctor, and then you may need to be on some supplements if it's found necessary, especially when we notice that osteoporotic changes are already setting in. There's a special bone scan called the DEXA scan, that you use to assess your bone density. If your bone density is compromised, you may need to be on some important supplements to restore your bone density. And your exercises, weight-bearing exercises, are necessary for postmenopausal women.
Can I add a little weight without adding cholesterol? Because my cholesterol is high and my BP too is high too.
Yes, if your cholesterol is high, your BP is likely going to be high. So first and foremost, you will need to watch your diet significantly. Cut out saturated fats, mainly from too much of red meat, your fatty foods, junk foods, butters and margarines. You need to cut those out completely. Then you try as much as possible to make sure that you are taking a lot of proteins in your diet to help you build more muscle mass, and then your exercises. But please, whenever I hear high blood pressure, make sure you are on treatment for it. Make sure you are managing it with both your medication and your lifestyle changes, because blood pressure shows no symptoms. We've talked about it on this show before. It's a very silent condition, and you would not know when it has gotten out of hand.
Doc, I wish we could answer these questions quickly, because we have just 2 to go.
Okay.
About our time.
Okay.
Quick one. Please, I do have hotness of belly sometimes after eating rice. Stella.
Hotness of belly. I hope you don't have gastritis, because if you are on any pain medications like ibuprofen, diclofenac for any reason for a long time, you may have gastritis, and when you do eat, you may feel some hotness. So when you feel hotness in your tummy, we first of all think of hyperacidity, we talk of gastritis, and you should go for a H. pylori screening, just in case you have the H. pylori infection.
I want to ask, taking painkiller drug, is it good? Rahim from Agege.
You take painkiller medications based on prescription of your doctor. You don't take painkiller drugs on your own. You don't self-medicate, because painkillers, in as much as they are helping you control your pain, they can have adverse effects on your kidney and on your liver. So potentially harmful, but within safe range or within a doctor's monitoring is fine. So I don't know if a doctor prescribed these medications or not. If it's not a doctor prescribing, then please stop it and have a doctor evaluate you.
Please, can I get the proper doctor's mic? I said doctor's mic. Somebody is saying on YouTube, you spell the doctor's mic well, but apostrophe S before that S that ends the doctor. Doctor's. Only what you need is apostrophe there.
After the R.
After the R. Put apostrophe there and you're good. On Facebook and, of course, on Instagram. Finally, doctor. Okay, quick one. Is it good to be drinking bitter leaf water? What does it do to the body?
We've heard this question time and time again. Bitter leaf, I'm not a herbal doctor. So I cannot really attest to what it contains or what it will do for you. But please never make the error of thinking you can use it if you are diabetic, because people will say diabetes is having high blood sugar. So if I take something bitter, it will neutralize it. Please, it doesn't work that way. Do not ever rely on bitter leaf water treatment for diabetes. So if that is why you're asking, please go to the hospital and get proper treatment. I'm not a herbal doctor, and I'm not going to say anything
Dr.
beyond what I
thank
know.
you so much. We have to run now.
Yes,
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me, and see you next week. Thank you.
My name is Jude Ikami Jude. Ikami Jude on social media, platforms. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning to you. It is well in the name of Jesus. If you have any illness or whatever, say it is well to yourself.